For this rear section of this rear fender on the hot rod, we're going to start like we always do by pulling a paper template off the buck. And I'm going to start by outlining all the major features. So the top of the fender there, the wheel arch, and the bottom of the fender, which is right there. And kind of trim away the excess material and then start fine-tuning the template to fit the buck a little bit better. With all that excess paper, it kind of does what it wants to do. Now, speaking of which, you see these bulges in through here? That's extra material that needs to be shrunk down. And on paper, it might not look like much. But when you actually start shrinking metal, it's a lot of work. These concave areas here, that's showing me that the metal has to be stretched out because it's pulling on the material, it's shrinking it down. So that's the peak of the fender. The wheel arch is right there. I'm just gently running my hand over this. Oop, don't want to tear it, but because I have oil on my gloves from handling the sheets, it kind of transfers onto the paper, allowing me to trace the wire frame. I'm going to use some magnets, kind of pin a few things here. It'll help hold paper. I've added a bit of extra material that we're going to roll over inside the fender arch there, underneath the fender, as well as past this rod here, because that's going to have to kind of blend into the next piece. It also gives us a bit of leeway for positioning the panel until we get it fine-tuned to sit on the buck properly. Now, on this template, I'm going to indicate a very critical zone that we need to wheel, and it's basically a tapered feature that starts from about 2 inches here and rolls down to about a 4-inch wedge down here. And that's our wheeling zone. If we overwheel this area here, we're going to have this big bulge through here, and this is a relatively flat area. Now, this top edge around here I mentioned earlier, we're going to have to do some shrinking up and through here to have that come down and sit properly. So about there. And it's going to widen out to about there. Okay, so there's our wheeling zone. This is what we need to focus on when we're wheeling up and through here. And that'll allow the panel to sit where it needs to sit. We will have to blend it into this flatter area, but the majority of our wheeling is going to happen right through here. Here we go on the next section. Just going to take this off and show you guys how far we need to move that rear panel section. So with that initial break with the rubber wheel, you can see it's quite a bit of shaping we need to do here. And here we go, guys. Later on I'll switch to a higher crown anvil, but to develop the initial curvature and have a consistent curvature, we're using that flat one. Just as before on the other panel you saw, this area through here is going to start dishing down because we're stretching that out. But we'll address that afterwards. Right now, I'm going to focus on this tapered wheeling zone right through here. Gotta make sure I don't bump you guys. Just blending a little bit at a time into here, so we don't have as much to work on later. We don't want to overwheel this area too much in here and create a huge bulge, because this is a relatively flat area. The roll starts in through here. We want this to be pretty flat. The radius is looking quite nice up and through here. We're accomplishing what we need here as well as over here, but see how flat it is through here. So we need to keep bringing that up. It's starting to get a nice sound, but we have a long way to go, guys. Now we've got that dish happening through here as well. It's not bad here, but because we stretched here more, this has to start coming up, so we start blending into here. Just like that. Keep wheeling up there, keep coming down and blending it. We want to stretch the panel in a uniform manner. We don't want to create waves and bulges, because then it's a lot more work to clean it up afterwards. See a little bit of oil can happening. I don't know if you can hear that bubble, bubble. That's because we have a bit, we're chasing the bulge outward. So we brought this up, there's still a bulge here, there's concavity, so by us bringing this up and not staying down, that's creating an oil can effect. So we're gonna have to keep working it out until that disappears. Just like that. When I come back around, you'll be able to see how much higher that area has become. We no longer have that big dish through here, but we flattened out up here. So we need to start bring that up to where we need it. And this is going to drop down again. So we have to come back down here, blend this out, and then keep going back and forth until we get the curvature we need. Because of this change in direction back here where the rear fascia is, you see that bulge right there? That means that we have too much material that's going to come down through shrinking it. But this area here also has to come up. I'm going to switch over and put a higher crown anvil in and go lengthways down the panel. We have a pretty controlled stretch all the way through right now. I'm going to start touching up this area through here. Again, maintaining our wheeling zone that we indicated earlier. And then we'll blend into here. Let's see how we look on the car. That's sitting a lot better than it did a while ago. But let's see, through here, this is coming down and inside. There's a dish right through here, and that area through the top also has to roll over. So we have more stretching to do, and then later on we'll go through and tuck the top edge and shrink the top edge. So I've got my higher crown anvil in there. Just going to work the wheeling zone. Stretch that up. And as I'm stretching this, you're going to see this dish down a lot. Moving a lot of metal, but I'm moving it in a controlled manner. Even though it's puckering a little bit, we're keeping our wheeling zone consistent. I'm not traveling all over the place trying to get the stretch up. Stay within that zone and then blend in later. See the dish happening through here? And blend it in a little bit. Notice I did create some ridges when I was using the high crown anvil, just a little bit, but this will take care of all those little inconsistencies in the panel by wheeling with a flatter anvil and changing direction. The dish, you can keep watching this area through here, the dish is going to slowly come out as I'm coming down and stretching this material here. We're stretching here, but we're also stretching just a bit through here. See that? It's coming up. I'll slow down a little bit. Something on the panel. Okay. As compared to over here, you can see the dish through here. This is coming up nicely. And we're smoothing out. To have a good quality wheel, one that has enough tension on it yet remains flexible. Those weekend wheels that you pick up, unless you reinforce them, they're not going to get you the results you want. See the panel starting to curve around this way because we're creating more body through here, more material through here. It's coming up and it's pushing that around. Eventually we'll get around to shrinking the top edge. Let me know what you guys want to see in regards to wheeling. I try to be as thorough as I can when we're kind of showcasing what we're doing here. But if you guys want to see something in more detail, let us know. Put it down in the comments. I'm not running a crazy amount of pressure. Again, high is about over, well, you can't see the wheel, but I'm about in medium pressure right now. On the lighter side of medium, just to blend. Okay, so it's coming in quite nicely. Start pulling this over the anvil a bit, just to give it a bit of stretch. Get a firm grip on the panel, and just pull it around. It looks simple on a panel like this. You know, just pull it back and forth in the wheel and it's done, right? Panel is coming around very nicely around the radius there. We're not fighting it too much. We're coming in quite nicely through here. But this dish here, we have to work that up. And that's smoothed out. Hardly any, well, there are no tracking marks. So we need the front of this panel here to blend into the back edge of the panel up there. Getting really close, it starts shrinking that top edge. Okay, well that's sitting up there quite well actually. So we still have some shrinking to do along here to get rid of those little ripples. But what I notice right here, it's still not coming around enough. So we need to stretch this area out and around. And then that'll sit a little more comfortably. This area through here, that's pretty much done. So focus over there, get that wheeled out, and then try it again. So it was that widening wheeling zone I showed earlier on the template. How it came down and opened up through here. That's what we need to bring out to have that sit properly. I'm just pulling it over the wheel just to give it a bit more stretch. Up here we're good, it's just in here. Okay, let's see. Now we are starting to get a bit of a dish here again because we pulled material up. It needs to pull it from somewhere, so it's pulled from here. What I'm going to do right now is give it one more pass, then I'm going to take and open the panel up because it's starting to tighten up, and we need to wheel a panel that fits the car, not some pretzel. If the panel starts getting a weird twist to it or whatever, and you keep wheeling it with that twist, it's not going to fit on the buck properly. We're really close right now, and we just have to maintain that shape. Just open it up a little bit, okay? And now we're going to blend it in, smooth everything out. Let's go shrink this on the stump. So now we're just going to shrink about an inch and a half into the edge by driving the material down into the stump, into this little divot here. Did have a nice panel. So we can't take out all these hammer marks at one time, but we can work them out just a bit at a time. Now if we've overshrunk this, we can always stretch that back out and have it sit exactly where we need it to be. And then on the other hand, if we haven't shrunk enough, we can go through this again in a particular area, shrink it down, and smooth it all back out. Well guys, we're getting really close with this panel in terms of the preliminary shape, having it sit on the buck correctly. We'll be doing a lot more work in terms of trimming it and adjusting a few little things, making sure all the reflections track properly. But that's not going to be in this episode. It's going to save that for a later day. Just want to finish blending out these areas here. Anytime you look at it, you see a little something that you want to adjust. So we'll stand back, take a look at it, fit things up a little bit closer, and then we'll start blending in with the front piece. Once those two pieces are joined, then we'll touch up the whole thing and start rolling the flanges. You are just clear with the throat there. I think that's going to be it. Now you see by wheeling at that there, we've actually shrunk down here. So I'm just going to touch that up really quick here for you guys, and we'll get her up on the car. Okay, that's much better. Seems the more I wipe this panel off, the shinier it gets. And that's a good thing. Look at the reflections of the lights. It's coming out really nice. So that's our end goal. We want the panels to look like they're production stamp pieces. And we want to minimize the amount of time the car's going to spend in the body shop having work done to it. A few coats of high build primer should be all that it needs to get things done. So I'm going to get this front piece clamped on, give you guys a complete picture, and if you wouldn't mind, give us a thumbs up because that's coming out really nice. Alright guys, well there you go. Got the two pieces kind of tacked together. This was never meant to sit on top of this panel obviously, so that's why it's kind of sticking out that way. And you can see we have quite a bit of overlap, so a lot of this is going to be trimmed away. And we can blend that into the rear section there. We need to do a bit more wheeling on the back one there. This low spot here is still kind of showing up. But overall, everything is fitting the buck quite nicely. Now we have a bit of a space here because this clamp is tensioning the panel outward. But overall, there you go guys. So 2 sections wheeled up, and we're well on our way to finishing off this side of the car. We've got this piece done, this in through here, and then we're going to start on the trunk lid next. Thanks a lot for watching guys, and see you next Friday. Take care.